Shut up and sit down.
Here we are again on the sidelines. Got a special guest today, Lonnie McDonald. I appreciate you being on, man.
Hey, good to be here. It's my first podcast. I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. I will go ahead and say I usually hold off on introducing the whiskey until the trivia part, but I was so pumped.
We got such a good one today.
I was so pumped when you brought this one in. I think my eyes lit up, but it was
first time for both of us, I believe.
Exactly, and we've already been sipping on it a little bit, but you brought. We're going to be talking some MMA today and some UFC, and you brought some Proper 12, some Conor McGregor whiskey. That was awesome, man.
Yeah.
So knowing you're a Broncos fan, I obviously acquired Flacco, drafted Drew Lock. I want to get his recent comments, I guess about a week or so ago, saying that it's not his responsibility to teach Drew Lock to become the starting quarterback. It's not his responsibility to do that.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I understand where he's coming from. It's the coach's job to coach. Of course, everybody's got to agree with that.
Agreed.
But I also see where everybody's saying he's not a team player. He's having problems whenever he's not surrounded by excellent players.
Do you think that was the case, in your personal opinion? Do you think that was the case in Baltimore?
Baltimore. Yeah. I feel like whenever he's not surrounded by excellent players, he starts to do bad. He can't teach his players.
Right.
Okay, one of the first things I wanted to touch base with on this, it's from the Mile High Report. It's just a little thing that I follow for the Broncos news. From one of my favorite wide receivers of all time, Steve Atwater. This is
legend.
Words,
Shout out Steve Atwater.
This is words from him. Flacco's not a leader, doesn't talk to teammates on the bench, and struggles when he's not surrounded by good players. The main point about that comment was that Flacco, he doesn't make players better around him.
Right. Well, you kind of see that. So when you're watching, when you were watching Ravens games, and hopefully it's not the case in Denver. I know you don't want that, but when you're watching Ravens games, it was almost like he would sulk. Like if something was going bad or something was down, he wasn't rallying teammates. I mean, I can't say I saw every interaction he had with his teammates, but I didn't see him over on the sidelines rallying his teammates and getting them pumped up and getting them ready to go when they were kind of facing adversity.
Right. You can't take nothing away from the guy at all. I mean, Super Bowl MVP. He tied Joe Montana's record, postseason record for most touchdown passes.
Yep. Didn't he have a couple games where he had 6?
Yeah. Rookie of the Year 2008, over 38,000 passing yards. He started from 2008 to mid 2018 before his injury.
Right.
So the talent's there. I just don't know how he's going to proceed in Denver. I don't know.
Happy? Are you happy that you guys got Flacco? Are you excited about that?
I'm excited about the talent because I know he's a good player, but I just...
Anything's better than Case Keenum.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, he was a complete fluke.
Trevor Siemian.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, you guys have had a Brock Osweiler. You guys have had a rough go at it. Yeah. Ever since Peyton.
I feel like he's looking out for number one. He's wanting to protect his $18.5 million job, and that's the salary cap in 2019. 2020 it goes to $20.25 million, and if they decide to keep him around in 2021, it's going to $24.25 million.
So, do you think he's worth that?
I think he's worth it as a player, yes.
Now, how old? Do you know how old he is? Was he 33 or something?
He's 33. I just don't know how he's going to be in Denver, and that's where the concerns are at, just because everybody's saying he's not a team player, and if he doesn't have the absolute talent that he needs around him, he's going to fail.
But isn't that the case? I think that's the case with a lot of quarterbacks. I think very few quarterbacks you can sit back and say he doesn't need anything around him.
Yeah, exactly.
Tom Brady being one of them, I guess, that he doesn't need anything around him.
They always need those weapons.
Yeah, to be successful.
Successful.
He can just run it. But I think Flacco still has some left in the tank. I feel like he's aged a lot quicker than a lot of quarterbacks.
And he had a problem staying healthy, and it's not very long off of his injury.
Yeah. What would you say it was? We were talking about it before we started recording.
Mid 2018 season.
It was like a hip or something, wasn't
it? Yeah, it was this hip.
I think that. So again, we're going to talk about is it his responsibility to teach Drew Lock his position at his job? So you think about it. You're at the job, and your boss comes to you and says, hey, we want to teach more people how to do this job, teach them how to do your job, and maybe that bumps you up or whatever the case may be. I just think that's not the same mentality in NFL organizations or athlete organizations. It's like if you get your job taken, you're unemployed.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
That always,
And with him per se, like, he lost his job to a rookie already, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Who is great. I would like to see more I guess arm accuracy. I'd like to see more throwing, like some throwing prowess. But
I feel that he's just worried about that happening again.
Yeah,
he don't want to lose his job again because, like you said, he's unemployed after that.
But I think he wore. I mean, what was he in Baltimore? 11 seasons, 11 seasons.
Yeah, 11 seasons.
So I think he wore out his welcome. I mean, not wore out his welcome. I want to say like everybody's time passes.
Right.
Some people, but I mean, he was with one organization for 11 years.
Yeah,
that's
that was
a long
ready for something new.
Ready for something new. It got stagnant. It got real stagnant, and now it's time for him to move on. And I think Denver's about as good a situation as he's going to be in at this point in his career. I mean, they've got talent around him, and he's got a talented defense in Denver. So we'll see what he can do with it.
Hopefully. I mean, the defense is what's holding us now. So we got to do something with the offense. That's for sure.
I agree. Speaking about the NFL, I was definitely wanting to get your opinion on, I guess, Robert Kraft's situation. I kind of feel bad for him in that whole situation.
Was it just a lonely old man, though?
Yeah. Well, I don't. I don't know. But the evidence and all that. But I don't think he was involved in like the bigger scheme of things.
Right.
Like the sex trafficking
worldwide operation.
I think he was just like a lonely old
multi-million-dollar sex trafficking.
Exactly. Operation. Very, very gross. Very, very gross thing. And I don't think that he was involved in that. I think he was just a lonely old dude, which doesn't. Right. I mean, it still made a mistake. I get it. Whatever, dude.
Yeah, but
lonely old guy. But I was interested to hear your take on that.
Okay, Robert Kraft. Whenever you think about Robert Kraft, what's before February, what's he most famous for in your own personal opinion?
Before February?
Before February, before the sex trafficking, before the massage parlor.
Running one of the greatest franchises in really sports history. Got a lot of rings. So.
Holding 6 Super Bowl rings with the Patriots.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to throw another real familiar name out there for you. Vladimir Putin.
So,
I don't know if you ever looked into it or if you heard anything about it, but there's a special. It's called 50 Days, 50 Rings. Have you heard anything about that one?
Not from other than you mentioning it a couple times. No, I haven't.
Well, basically, Kraft is down a Super Bowl ring to Vladimir Putin.
So I was under the impression that when so I heard about the Putin taking a Super Bowl ring from a Patriots. I understood
thought it was a player,
Patriots, like a random player being over there for some type of whatever thing, PR thing, and he took it.
It was Robert Kraft, though.
That is
the owner of the Patriots.
Oh my gosh!
Basically, Kraft is on a business trip.
Because it wasn't like any kind of like celebration, like Super Bowl celebration.
No, it wasn't nothing like that. And I'm not sure exactly what his business was there. He was in Russia,
Just
you know.
a lot of super rich dudes just talking about super rich stuff.
Yeah, he could have just wanted to go somewhere where prostitution was legal.
Maybe Putin was helping him out with that, man.
Well,
maybe.
Basically, Robert Kraft is in Russia on some business. Got a business partner there with him. Fresh Super Bowl ring. Maybe a week old. I'm not exactly sure how.
What year was this exactly?
Well, it was the third Super Bowl ring.
So they had what? 02, 05, and
I was
then 13.
I'm thinking 2005.
Okay.
So it's his third Super Bowl ring. They won 2, lost 1, and then won the third one, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, really proud about this ring. Got another Super Bowl ring, a third Super Bowl ring under the same team. Showing his business partner, and
while they're in Russia with Putin at this random business.
They was going to lunch with Putin later this evening,
which is weird. Like, that's something I kind of want to hit on. Why is Kraft
going? And I don't know if he was invited
business,
him.
I guess, but
I don't know if he just said, "Hey, Robert Kraft and your business partner, come to lunch with me," because it didn't look like that. The videos that I saw, it didn't look like nothing like that. It was a whole group of people. They went to a lunch and Putin was there.
Oh, so it wasn't like Kraft and Putin were like, "Hey, man, we got."
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like Trump.
So they were
both.
They both just like ran into each other, and he still got his ring jacked.
Well, they ran into each other. They started talking. His business partner. Probably just wanting to impress him because he's that type of guy. I mean, he's just he's such a powerful guy. Everybody wants to impress him.
Talking about Putin. I mean, Putin's a scary dude.
Yes, Putin.
He's a scary dude.
So Kraft is with his business partner, and he says, "Let's show the ring to Putin." So he's like, "Okay, let's impress him. Okay, let's go show my new Super Bowl ring." So he goes and talks to him, introduces himself. "Hi, I'm Robert Kraft," and blah, 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 whatever was said. And the videos, Kraft takes off his ring and shows it to Putin. In Kraft's own words, like, this was his quote, this is what he said. He took the ring off, handed it to Putin. Putin tried the ring on, held it up, looked at it for a minute and said, "I could kill a man with this ring."
Straight up.
Yeah, as gangster as Putin is, said, "I can kill a man with this ring."
Oh, and he just tries to intimidate people.
Yeah, just tries to intimidate people. You have to YouTube it and look it up and watch the video for yourself. But he takes the ring off and just puts it in his pocket. His agents surround him.
That's the most gangster thing.
And they walk out.
And and they're just like, they probably, honestly, do they even know? I mean, I'm sure they know who Robert Kraft is, but do they really even care that much?
No, he didn't care.
Yeah. What's Robert Kraft going to do?
Exactly. They're in Russia. He said, "I want this ring," basically, and took it.
Yeah.
So this happened.
Such balls.
This happened in 2005. Robert Kraft didn't come out publicly until 2013.
So did he try to get it back? Did he go through like
he went to the White House, and this is under Obama at the time, and tried to get the ring back. He's like, "Hey, this
Obama
is my."
Was like, "Nah, I'm gonna let that. You need to let that one slide."
Basically, what happened, and this is in 50 Days, 50 Rings as well.
Yeah.
It goes on to tell more of the story. He said he went to the White House, tried to get the ring back. He's like, "It's my $25,000 Super Bowl ring with my name on it." And
it does not matter. It's Putin's.
He just put it in his pocket and walked away. So apparently some people from the White House may have gotten to contact with someone about the ring, and they told him that they would send a similar ring back, but it would be basically Russia.
Russia told Kraft this?
Told the White House this. It would basically be in Kraft's best interest to consider it a gift.
And this was Putin's cabinet or whatever it is over there.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
And
how insane is that?
He still has Robert Kraft's Super Bowl ring. That's his Super Bowl ring.
So if you were Robert Kraft in that situation, what do you say anything?
What
you
you do?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and you don't take it. And hindsight's 20/20, but you don't take it.
Now, I mean, if he had any chance, it would have been with Obama. Trump now, I mean, he isn't getting it back for him.
He'd try anything willingly to get it back from Putin. But that's so nuts to me that like a world leader has the balls enough just to be like, you know what, I don't care who you are. He probably doesn't even know what the fucking Super Bowl is. He probably has no idea.
Exactly.
No idea what the Super Bowl is. And was like, this is an awesome ring.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take it.
Exactly.
Because I'm Vladimir Putin.
He wanted it. They're in Russia. He's like, I'm taking this. Yeah. Try to get it back.
Yeah.
You know, what could he have done there?
Nothing, especially since his KGB force surrounded him as he walked off. Like, no, nothing. He was a former KGB agent himself.
Putin?
And that's why I think that's why he's so good at manipulation and so good at really intimidation. I mean, that's what, like...
Basically, the White House told Kraft it wasn't worth starting World War III over. So it was in his best. It was in his best interest just to consider that as a gift.
Chalk that up in the loss column.
Yeah. Take that one as a loss.
Speaking about Russia, I kind of wanted to get your opinion. I know you're a pretty big fan of Khabib as well. Also, I want to get some MMA talk in here. I'd like to know. I'd like to hear your rankings for best pound for pound fighters.
Okay.
In your opinion,
pound for pound fighters for me in the UFC, active
right now.
As of right now.
Okay. All right. Khabib. I didn't rank mine like that. I ranked top 5. But
okay. Well, Khabib number 1. Got to give it to the guy, 27-0.
Coming out of Russia. Those are some mean dudes.
I mean, and this is coming from diehard Conor McGregor fan. I mean, from the beginning, and he made him look like a chump. I mean, he did whatever he wanted to.
I think McGregor's past his prime, and I think McGregor kind of got distracted. But still, he made McGregor look bad.
Yeah, he made him look bad, and he don't want to fight him again. Yeah. McGregor don't want to fight him again. It's not worth the money to him.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure it's not. Especially after the freaking Mayweather fight. He's
fine. Loaded now.
He's fine.
And, this fine whiskey he's got here.
That proper 12 right there.
That proper 12. Yeah. Actually, funny story about
proper 12?
Yeah, the proper 12.
Yeah,
for each bottle sold, he donates to the first responders, and he's building houses in Ireland right now for the homeless. So he donates just profit from the liquor company.
He donates to the first responders in Ireland.
The first responders, United States, and he has homeless in Ireland, building homes for him, and that's all funded from his whiskey here.
Dude, you can tell he's a man of the people, a man of his people. But
people love him too.
Yeah, and he's a fighter, man. He's a straight up fighter. He's an Irish fighter, man. Yep. But he's
full of heart.
Yeah, he fights like I don't know if I'm proud to say this or not, but I've witnessed like chicken fights.
Yeah,
and he reminds me of it's a
something that wants to win. He has to be on top. Yeah. He's gonna conquer. He's gonna conquer anything.
Yeah, and not Khabib.
He's got the family life now. The money.
Money softens.
He's
people. I mean, it does.
He's done what he set out to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. His father has a yacht in the Florida Keys. And it's called the 801.
Did he buy this yacht for his dad?
Oh, yeah, a $7 million yacht he bought for his dad, and they named it the 801 because they would get a $801 welfare check for Conor McGregor every month.
Well, I know. So I watched a documentary. That makes sense that you said that now. Watching a documentary, he grew up, even when he was with his, I think now wife, his girlfriend back in the day, and he just started fighting. They were living off welfare
checks. Yeah,
they were very they were poor in like a little tiny apartment, man. Trying to get by.
They named that boat after the amount of dollars that he would get every month on his welfare check.
Yeah,
and it's just just an unbelievable story, and he's still really young.
Well, young compared. How old
31?
is he? Connor is
maybe 30. I mean, I can't.
And I think that's young compared to like I don't know. Couture fought until he was like 45. Anderson Silva's still fighting, which is kind of sucks.
But they didn't make that kind of money either.
No, they didn't. Yeah. They started making money in their later fights,
right.
But when they weren't in their prime.
Whenever Conor McGregor, his first UFC debut fight, he had $60,000.
Yeah.
You go back to Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, people like that, they're getting $10,000 on their first fight.
Yeah.
This is 98.
And Chuck Liddell was such a badass too, man.
Right,
he was a badass, bro. He was. I feel like he took a lot of shots to the head, like unhealthy shots. Man, shoot. Yeah, I feel like he might have like CTE or something, for real. Like that worries me about that dude. He took a lot of shots.
We kind of drift off with Conor a little bit on the whiskey, but pound for pound fighter, Khabib #1. I got to go Max Holloway after that. 23-3. He is just a monster. He destroys everything too. He fights with a purpose. I mean, he just gets in there and it's all out brawl every time.
So what do you think?
I love watching him.
What do you think about that? And I know you posted on the sidelines page. What do you think about the fight that I guess is happening between him and Frankie Edgar?
Yeah. I mean, I have no doubts.
Yeah.
He's going to come out on top for sure.
Do you? I mean, I wonder. I don't know Frankie Edgar's record, but I know he's obviously good.
He is. He's
tough.
I haven't kept up as much.
I think he's more of a wrestler. Yeah.
A grappler, exactly. Yeah. And I just feel like I don't feel like it's going to go past.
You think Holloway's going to come out? Because Edgar looks
230 second round.
You think Edgar looks thicker? What is that? Is that middleweight they fight
middleweight.
At or lightweight?
Yeah, it's middleweight.
Middleweight. Yeah, okay. I mean, I think Edgar looks thicker than Holloway, but Holloway he's just so accurate.
Yeah,
with his
say it's the southpaw. He can stand on his feet and just throw blows all day, and he lands almost everything.
Yeah,
like you said, he's so accurate. I mean, I think it was 8 out of 10 punches. Like he says he guarantees to land them.
Right.
Like he's only missing those 2.
That's 80% strike lands. I mean that's almost unheard of.
And that's what he says about himself. Stats. It could be different.
I'm sure it's different in stats.
You count the scoring cards, and these are UFC guys hyped up and talking crap to each other. I'm landing 8 out of 10 punches, which I believe it, but I don't know his exact stats.
Yeah,
I think he's just such a monster, so accurate. He's throwing blows, and they are landing.
A lot of them, very quickly. He's not just one
you're
punch
getting
and getting
fists, knees, kicks.
You're getting a flurry.
Everything. Yeah,
you're getting a flurry when he's coming at you. But who else you got on?
John Jones.
Yeah.
You can't make a list and not have John Jones on.
Is that your top? You said that's your top 3 right now.
Top 3 right now.
Yeah, that's a good list. You can't have John. John Jones is
24-1.
Yeah.
Nasty. One decision,
and I don't care. Like that, there was trace amounts of blah 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 or whatever in the system. Whatever, dude. That dude. If everybody was taking steroids and he was able to take the same amount of steroids as everyone else, he's still destroying everybody. It doesn't matter.
It would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I never believed he was on steroids, but like you said, there was whatever the trace amount of it in, but I don't think he was.
He was actively like taking like HGH or anabolic steroids. I don't think
he was pumping it into him like that.
No.
Maybe some shakes or maybe popping some creatine pills.
And something got mixed up in there. It was such a small and
they keep him on so many supplements and diets and everything.
Yeah. It was such a small amount. It wasn't like he was overloaded with it. Who's your what's your other list? You got top 3 former past fighters.
I got top 3 past, and George St. Pierre.
Oh yeah, which I always thought, as much as I hate to say this, I love him as a fighter. I loved watching him fight, but it was almost like it was almost, I don't want to say boring to watch him fight, but he just wrestled people to fucking death, bro.
And he's Canadian, and they're huge wrestlers.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, they are.
I think his final was something like 26-2.
Yeah.
Well, I just feel like every fight, it was a wrestling match and it was a submission. That's what he went for every single time. Yeah. He wasn't.
He had some knockouts, but
I was going to say he wasn't as big.
Ground and pound.
Yeah.
Probably was his thing. Even obviously the best conditioning, I'm sure.
Yeah. And he's still like that.
Yeah.
He don't look like he's aged a day.
No, not at all. It's that French Canadian blood.
Right. Yeah.
That's what that is. All right, who else you got on that list?
Chuck Liddell.
Oh yeah,
the Iceman.
The Iceman. Hell yeah.
One of my all-time favorites.
He's a badass. Like I said, he's taken too many shots to the head, I feel like.
Right. Yeah.
At this point in his career, but he's awesome.
And he is former kickboxer before UFC.
Yeah.
Whenever he left kickboxing and went into UFC, he was undefeated, 26-0.
Right.
And then he came to UFC and, wasn't as fortunate, but he still was a monster and a living legend.
Yeah, I agree. And then his battles with Tito Ortiz and Randy Couture and those, it's great, man. It was some good bouts.
My last and final one that I have on this list, I got to throw the name out there, BJ Penn.
Oh yeah.
I have to throw that one out.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, right? Like 10th degree or something.
And he is
so he's the most flexible dude I ever saw in the cage. Like that dude could have his leg bent like in the weirdest way and still be fine. Like he was just
hold there. I mean, no facial expressions at all. It's just like let this clock run out. My arms bent like backwards 3 different ways,
and it doesn't matter because I did that.
I still got 2 minutes. I can make it.
Yeah, I did that yesterday in training. Don't matter, bro. Like I'm Gumby. So I get my list. I feel bad because honestly, I feel like I should have put BJ Penn on my list now.
Right.
But so my list, I just did a top 5 overall all time, former and past, or past and present. So, and it's kind of sad. My number 1, and this is in his prime. He's still fighting, but it's obviously not his prime.
Right.
Is Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that come through. Now there's, you got some type like John Bones Jones, but then you also got that Michael Fassbender. Is that his name? Yeah. So he's kind of like that younger, and he beat Silva, but Silva was like 42 or whatever. But so I just watching him in his prime was the most like, I know this sounds kind of weird, magical thing I've ever seen.
Well, he was one of those fighters that could go forever too. You could pound and pound and pound, and it just he wouldn't stop.
Yeah, and then he would throw a flying knee from you don't even see it coming. Yeah. Number 2, I got Khabib.
Khabib, you have to have him. 27-0. I mean, he is ruthless.
Do you think he'll ever be beat?
I don't.
Unless he fights when he's like 50, I guess.
Unless he fights like John Jones or something, someone that's freaking 100 pounds heavier than him.
That fight will never happen though.
I mean, his weight division, his talent, just his desire to fight. He's just a badass Russian. He wants to hurt people.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's modest about it, which is
weird. He's humble.
He's humble, but then when he's in that cage, man,
he wants to hurt people.
Yeah.
His
neck. Dude, he just cranks people's necks off.
Oh man,
I didn't even know you could really do that in the UFC until he started doing it. And he did it to Conor McGregor.
And everybody said, "Oh, the hold that he had him in, or whatever." Conor McGregor just quit. Imagine having his arms around. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm tapping way before that.
Oh man.
No doubt. Or my neck would snap. That's, I wonder if he's ever paralyzed anybody. Like, I mean, dude, you could break somebody's neck. I mean, he almost broke Conor McGregor's neck.
Whenever whenever all the Vegas stuff happened, UFC suspended him, jump in the cage. He was just
did you see
hyped up?
Do you know did you see the whole bus incident with McGregor that led up to that?
Yeah, the wheelbarrow and talking about his father and all that stuff.
Busted out. Him and McGregor and his clan or whatever. Whatever they call him in Irish. Yeah. In Ireland, is they attacked Khabib's bus.
Well, and there was a couple fighters on that bus as well. Yep. But all of the staff, trainers, stuff like that, I know for sure they got $10 million. Everybody on the bus got $10 million. There was one fighter that had a cut on his forehead or something like that. I believe he got something like 40. So Conor McGregor paid for that bus incident, but it was still, it wasn't a professional fighter thing to do.
No, and you're a fighter, but that's like some WWE shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's like something I feel like fake. Stone Cold would do to Booker T.
Yeah, something that you think would be staged.
Yeah,
but this was they went on to say Conor McGregor and his slew of thugs.
Yeah, which is however you want to paint it, but I don't know what led to that. I don't know why he decided to do that.
Well, Conor McGregor left the UFC to go fight Floyd Mayweather.
Right.
And whenever he left the UFC, his belt was unclaimed.
So Khabib
claimed it, and Conor McGregor said, "You're not getting my belt without fighting me. I'm back in the UFC now.
Yeah.
It's my belt."
Yeah.
So that's what led
to that. Yeah. So he's like, now I'm going to bust out your bus windows.
Yeah, I'm going to make you want to fight me.
Which I can honestly, for all McGregor's, stuff, I can respect that kind. McGregor's a fighter, man. Yeah. He doesn't back down from anyone. He didn't back down from Khabib. He just got out wrestled, outmatched.
He got beat for sure.
Yeah.
But Conor McGregor also held 2 titles in 2 different weight classes.
Right.
So,
man, and real quick on that Mayweather fight, he connected with a couple
good
punches.
Good punches.
He connected with one uppercut that snapped Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather is boxing.
Yeah. So when I knew...
and he only fights in Vegas, you're not going to beat Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match in Las Vegas.
No.
It just...
That's his realm. Yeah.
It's not possible.
When I knew McGregor, I watched the fight. And when I knew McGregor was in trouble was when it was like the 4th round, and you were like, all right, McGregor's
he was gassed.
Yeah, McGregor's like, all right, he got a couple shots in. He had that uppercut that snapped him. I don't think Mayweather was expecting that. Right. I don't think that was part of the plan, but he got him with an uppercut. So then Mayweather sits down on the bench and he looks at the camera and smiles like a little bit. And I was like,
he's like, now.
Oh, I was like, man, Mayweather's about to turn this shit on, man. My third one, I got after Anderson Silva and Khabib, I got GSP, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty similar. I think you'll like my last one, but my 4th one is John Bones Jones.
Of course.
And then my last one's Hoist Gracie.
Okay.
So obviously he was part of UFC 1.
Right.
And the only reason I put him in there is because they didn't have weight classes back then.
Yeah.
And so he fought dudes like...
Anybody.
Yeah. He fought dudes that were 250 pounds of muscle, and he was like 160. Yeah. He was just an expert jiu-jitsu. That's a hard word to say. He was just an expert at that. And has his own type of jiu-jitsu now.
Right, exactly.
He's
so good that he's teaching his own style.
And I feel like there's a Gracie, like there's so many Gracies all over MMA now.
Yeah.
Like they're all like, I don't know, they just like multiplied from Brazil. It was crazy. Another thing I wanted to ask you, kind of going with the MMA thing, what's the best fight you've ever like seen, witnessed?
Okay, and this is what sold me on UFC, made me a forever fan. Chuck the Iceman Liddell.
Yeah.
Versus the Huntington Beach bad boy, Tito Ortiz.
How many, did they only fight once?
Okay, it was, there was 3 fights scheduled.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, after the second fight, it was a practice injury for Tito. It was a neck injury, and he ended up having to have like neck fusion surgery. It was pretty intense, which actually led to a lot of his problems later on in his career.
Yeah.
But
that's
my favorite fight, UFC 47. Okay. It lasted 38 seconds into the second round, and it was Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, of course. It made Chuck Liddell won the fight by knockout. It made Chuck Liddell the first person to ever knock out Tito Ortiz.
Dude, that dude had a big old chin, man. It probably was hard to knock him out, bro.
And it made number 9 on the top 20 best like UFC knockouts in history or whatever it was, but it made number 9 on that list. And it's just so intense, such a battle, and just Chuck Liddell went in there and owned him.
Yeah.
And it made me a forever fan of Chuck Liddell, actually.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that was a perfect matchup for Chuck Liddell, just because I remember also, obviously, he was a great kickboxer, but he had great takedown defense. Yeah. That was his thing. Like, and Tito was a wrestler, like a ground and pound guy. So that kind of took the only part of Tito's game away, really. He was great at that one part. Awesome. Exactly. At ground and pound.
And there was also the second fight with him, which was UFC 66, and it lasted 4 minutes into the third round, so it was a complete battle. Yeah, and they just
beat the hell out of each other. Yeah,
and that's a lot of minutes.
Yeah,
especially
throwing. Throwing all you can.
Yeah, that's a lot of minutes, and it was a drag out. That fight was. It was intense.
If you're in the middle of a ring, throwing punches like that, that's going to wear you out, especially that long. Like, people don't think about 15 minutes. That's whatever. You go stand and sling punches.
Sling punches for that long. Kick
at somebody and get
wrestle
hit.
Them. Yeah. They're gassing out. They're giving it everything they have.
Yeah. I've got so the best fight I've ever witnessed. I used to watch this show pretty religiously for a few seasons, but the UFC Ultimate Fighter, how they
they have all their
so they had
candidates in there.
Yeah, the very one the championship to get the 6-figure contract was Stephan Bonnar versus Forrest Griffin, and
I remember that.
Those two. Yeah. Just met in the middle, touch gloves, met in the middle of the ring, and did not stop punching each other
the whole time.
15 straight, just laid into each other with nothing but right and left hooks and uppercuts, and I don't even know if there was kicks thrown. Man, they just went in there and beat the hell out of each other.
They was coming off of that show. They was fighting for everything. They're
that's all they had. That was their contract,
exactly.
And they ended up offering. I don't remember. It was cool. They ended up giving them both.
The
a contract. Which Stephan Bonnar, I didn't really see much of him.
I didn't see much of him.
Forrest Griffin had an all right career.
I seen him a lot. That's a good name in UFC. But like I said, they was coming off that show, and they was just fighting for everything they had. This is their career. This is their livelihood. This is what they've worked their whole life towards. You know, you've got to win. You've got to go out there, and it's just everything.
Yeah. Going on that same aspect, so who past, present, you can compare primes. What's a fight that you would just want to see? Just a fantasy fight.
Okay, I like the fantasy part because this would absolutely never ever happen. Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz.
Who do you think would take it, Nate?
Nate's younger and he's faster now, but Nick is way more experienced.
Do you think they fight each other?
No, I don't think they fight each other. Nick basically trained him, brought him up fighting.
Yeah.
Basically, of course they're brothers, but basically Nate is Nick's golden boy.
Yeah.
He's and Nick had a really good UFC career. You can't take nothing away from the guy, but I just feel like he's pushing his brother towards just to be better than him.
Yeah, he's not worried about his own career anymore. He's trying to be in his brother's corner, which is cool. You see that, and they stick up for each other ferociously.
But exactly, crazy. And that's why I said the fight would never happen. But it would just be something like you said, a fantasy fight that I would like to see, because you can watch videos of them sprawling all the time, and I'm like, I wonder who would win,
right?
If they was in there fighting for money.
Today, I'd take Nate, but back in the day, bro, Nick was a brawler, man.
Yeah,
Nick didn't play, so that's a tough fight. Today, I'd probably take Nate,
but I gotta say though, a fight that I would love to see happen again would be the number 3 fight of Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz.
Yeah. To get the third.
That second fight
to get the
was,
tiebreaker.
Yeah, that second fight was just so awesome. I mean that.
Yeah.
It ran the whole time, and they made a decision which I never really agreed with. Conor McGregor won, and I just felt like towards the end, Nate Diaz took over and just dominated completely. But Conor McGregor came out with the win. Of course, the first fight, Nate Diaz tapped him out.
Yeah,
rear naked choke.
And Diaz really doesn't even ever look like he's in shape when he comes into a fight.
Never. It's just like
he's
lanky.
Just lanky.
Yeah.
But he's awesome.
Doesn't have no definition.
Yeah. But he taps people out.
Southpaw fighter, man.
Yeah. He taps people out and beats people up.
Yeah. And, like I said, just whenever he's on the ground, he's unstoppable too. He's got so much room. I mean, those arms and legs are so long. He can do so much with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree, man. I'd love to see Diaz McGregor 3. That would be cool. Mine is, so this is thinking of both of them in their prime, and Anderson Silva would have to put on probably about 40 pound.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see Anderson Silva in his prime versus John Jones.
Oh man,
in his prime, and Anderson Silva being able to, or John Jones being able to make weight.
Yeah,
like one of them being able to make the other's weight, which maybe might happen. I mean, I don't think they're that. One's a middleweight, one's a light heavy.
Right.
So I don't think it would be that crazy.
It wouldn't be that crazy.
It's like a 20-pound difference.
Yeah, so say just gain 20 pounds. Yeah, they could beef up that quick.
Yeah. So on to our trivia portion of the night.
Okay, I got a couple good ones here.
You think you're going to get me? I'm pretty good at this trivia. I don't know my official record, but
I feel like you'll know one of them 100% for sure. I was like, oh man, that one's a little bit too easy after I was reading over them. But we'll see where it goes.
All right. So you want to go first? I'll save the guest for last. So I guess I'll go first so you can have the last question. Either way, we'll work it out so you can have the last question.
Go ahead.
First question is, who had the most passing attempts in 2018, last year in the NFL?
Most passing attempts.
Yeah, most passing attempts.
Let me think. I don't know.
Sitting back there slinging it.
Big Ben.
Way to go, bro! You got it right.
Yeah,
that was it, man.
I wasn't sure. I was going towards Tom Brady, and then I started going towards Mahomes.
Yeah,
and I was like, who could? Yeah, Big Ben.
Way to go, man! Good job. First ever trivia question. You nail it, bro. All right, no shot for you. We've already talked about it in the episode, but I thought it was great, and I thought Lonnie was a very thoughtful guest for bringing on. We've got Proper 12.
Proper 12.
Made by Conor McGregor, coming out of Ireland. It is kind of like Jameson, to be honest.
Yeah, it's got a Jameson taste for sure.
Yeah.
It says it's aged vanilla, honey, and toasted wood.
That's when you know it's good. It's got toasted wood in it. So go ahead with your question, man.
Okay, and I'll take the name or the date on this one.
Okay.
When did Chuck Liddell make his first UFC debut?
So then the person he fought, you'll take?
UFC name.
Oh, like the number. The UFC
number or name of that
of his
certain
UFC debut. Yeah. I'm going to say UFC. Oh, gosh. I feel like I'm going way far back.
It's pretty far back.
I'm going to go UFC 25.
No.
Too far back?
No, not far enough.
Wow, really? Yeah. Well, what is it?
It's UFC 17 Redemption, May 15th, 1998.
Whatever, man. Good question. Good question. So here's a shot of Proper 12 in honor of Conor McGregor. Also, real quick, give a shout out to our sponsors, Sleepy Pelican Travel Group. You need to book any travel or anything, get a hold of them.
That's hotels, flights, cruises, you name it. He's got you.
Yeah, he'll take care of you for sure. And that's at Sleepy Pelican TG. And go check out the bar on 3rd in Ironton, Ohio. It's a cool bar. It's my dad's bar, so it's got to be cool. So their handles.
Didn't he just have Tyler Childers' wife play there?
Yeah. I was actually there for that. That was
Afro Man.
He's had Tyler Childers' wife, Afro Man, and numerous other ones, and a comedy show coming up there in July.
Didn't Sleepy Pelican hosting the comedy show?
Sleepy Pelican Travel Group is hosting a comedy show in July. I will have to confirm the date, but July 27th, I believe. But in July, look it up. It's on at the bar on 3rd's page and Sleepy Pelican's page. It's a comedy show at the bar. Go check it out. It's going to be hilarious.
One other thing about Sleepy Pelican real quick. They're sponsoring the Huntington Pride Festival on June 29th at 5 p.m. If anybody was interested in that, just a shout out to them real quick for doing that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Shout out to Sleepy Pelican. So I guess I need to take my shot that I just got the wrong answer on.
Proper 12.
It's not proper. All right. Whew, that's not proper at all. All right. Is my turn now? Yes, right?
Yeah.
So I've got one here. Okay, so I'm going to ask it. And all you have to do is name 2 of the 5.
Okay.
Because there's 5 that are tied. NFL players. Most Pro Bowl selections in a career. All you have to do, I'll give you 4 guesses. You just got to name 2 out of 5.
Okay. 1, Randy Moss.
No. Guess number 1.
In Pro Bowls, any players, right?
Any players, yeah, any position.
Yep. Tom Brady.
That is 1. 14. They all 5 of these have 14 Pro Bowl selections. Tom Brady is 1, so you have 2 guesses left to get 1.
Okay, and this is any time. How long?
It
like
goes
how
back.
many years?
It goes back, like back. to the merger of the like in the 50s, 60s.
Terrell Davis.
No, that's a good guess though.
So
you got one more guess.
Going back to the Broncos.
Yeah, I know. I will. Well, I'm not going to give you this hint. And you would guess it, but you're on the right path, I guess I should say.
Todd Gurley.
No, he's young. He's young. He's going to have a lot.
I was just thinking about good running backs.
I know. I was saying on Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Tony Gonzalez, the tight end, long-time tight end. And then the other, Bruce Matthews, linebacker for the Bills. And then Merlin Olsen, I don't really, I know who that is, but I don't know. He's an old, 60s player, 70s player.
So I guess I got a shot at this 12 coming up here.
Let's hear that cork pop out of there. That's a good sound. That's a good one. So I guess I didn't do it right. Wait, you've only asked one question, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so we're copacetic.
Track.
Yeah, we're copacetic. How's that taste? Pretty good.
It's a little bit better with a
Coke. I should have done that. Yeah, I love the punishment. Go ahead, man.
On me now.
Hit me with your best shot.
Okay, now I need the year and team on this one.
Okay.
Which NFL team went undefeated in regular season and postseason, and then won the Super Bowl?
That's going to be the 1972 Dolphins.
Yep, sure enough.
All right.
That was the one I was like, I know he's going to know that one.
All right, I got that one. I thought you were going to go with the Patriots when they just lost in the Super Bowl.
Right, exactly, and then just lost it. Yeah.
I thought you were going to go that route.
That's why I said the regular season and postseason undefeated.
Right. Well, good. No shot for me, and I think we're tied one answer each. Correct. So
yep, that's it.
This is intense, right? Barn burner. All right, my last question. Most all-time knockouts in UFC history.
Most all-time knockouts.
Now it's not a current fighter in the UFC. I don't know. He's not anymore, but he was an OG. Like, lasted a while. Give you that hint. He's an animal, really.
Most knockouts.
You'll know him. You know who he is. He's not some like obscure dude or anything. And it's not. I'll give you the number of knockouts. It's only 12 knockouts in a UFC career. He has the most knockouts in a UFC career.
Let me see.
It's not counting knockouts from Pride or
Matt Hughes.
He is on the list. Like, I think he's third, but no. It is Vitor Belfort.
Ooh,
12 knockouts that dude has, and he was there. He's been there a while.
I was gonna go Randy Couture next.
He's I think he might be second.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, you got a shot, man.
On to the 12, huh?
Yeah.
Proper.
Yeah. So if you get this wrong, that sound is always great. If you get this wrong, then I win. Right? Is that how it goes?
Yep, that's how it goes.
Yeah. If you get this wrong, I think I take down another win in trivia. But if you get it right, I'm pretty sure we tie.
You just asked the question, right? So I asked mine.
This is your last question. Yep.
Okay. This is going to be a tough one for you, I feel like. What is the most career touchdowns held by a Denver Broncos player?
So you need the number of career touchdowns, or do you need the person?
We can just go with the person.
You want the person with the most touchdowns in Broncos history.
Yeah.
That is a tough one because there's a lot of great players in Broncos history. So obviously,
I'll give you a hint. His first, and this is a little kick on the dirt for Jared. His first NFL catch was a 43-yard touchdown, which led him to a 38-31 win over the Redskins. September 17th, 95.
Oh, I know how I want to say, but I don't know. I mean, it's got to be Terrell Davis, right?
Nope.
God.
Nope.
That's what 95 did it for. Well, who is it?
Rod Smith.
Damn it, dude. Damn it. No. There's so many great Broncos, man. All right, pass that proper 12 over here, and we will end the episode on that. Who even won that? I don't even know who won that.
Don't you have one more question?
I do not. I ask you on mine. So I don't know who won that, but proper 12 is Creepy's right. We both won. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this last shot here. Real quick, before we do this, I do want to thank Lonnie McDonald. I appreciate you coming on, man.
Man, I appreciate being here. It was a good experience. First podcast ever. Like I said, I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate that, man. Obviously, I'd love to have you back on.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So here's to you, man. Cheers. I'm gonna go ahead and down this for you. It's still not proper. It's not proper at all. Not at all.